Classic Restos is proudly brought to you by Shannons Insurance, Penrite Oil, Hare and Forbes Machinery House, and Pace Farm Eggs.
G'day. Why do I keep on returning here to Carlisle in Pennsylvania, United States of America? Because it's home of some of the largest automotive shows on the planet. Now this is the 2016 Carlisle All Ford Nationals. I'm Fletch and this is Classic Restos. But first, here's a word from the people that help make it happen. It's thanks to Shannons. Ask about multi-policy discounts and sign up for the Shannons Club. Call 134646 for a quote and see more at shannons.com.au. For oils, coolants, additives and technical assistance, oil right, use Penrite. And Hare and Forbes has the range. Buy online at machineryhouse.com.au. Well, here we are, Ford and the United States of America. It's like a marriage between manufacturer and global appreciation. No one can take away the history of Ford and its standing legacy. From December 1st, 1913, as the world's first mass-produced automaker, 103 years later, we have this. Carlisle events, 50,000 guests, over 3,000 cars, one of the world's largest presenters of collector car and truck events. Carlisle is the preferred automotive destination for enthusiasts and collector car hobbyists worldwide, continuing over 4 decades. Carlisle Events has been a staple in the automotive community, offering events for enthusiasts looking to find automotive parts, memorabilia and collector vehicles to fuel their passion. Carlisle Events currently host 11 shows annually. This thrilling all Ford event also plays host to Mercury and Lincoln as well. An automotive showcase, a few million inches of cubic capacity to keep you occupied, and your appetite revving for more on the showfield during the weekend. And now, let's get to the pointy end of business at this year's event. Building T this year hosts the Bronco 50th anniversary and other Fords from 1966. TV lovers of Starsky and Hutch can enjoy the Torino 40th anniversary display with the original 70s TV showcast Paul Michael Glaser and Antonio Fargas thrown into the mix as well. A performance lineup is also proudly boasted as Roush have their 40th anniversary. It's 45 years now for the Pinto. Building Y this year is home to the 2nd annual Ford National Select Display. And last, but never least, the incredible showfield and the entrance with their vehicles. As we move on through the amazing 2016 All Ford Nationals here at Carlisle, time for Bill. Good morning, sir.
How are you, Fletch?
I'm good. How you doing?
I'm doing terrific.
That's
wonderful.
Good. That's great. You're here with this gorgeous 1967 Fairlane. Now, when we talk Fairlane, we typically think of a luxury car. It's quite amazing that back in 1967, Fairlane did a luxury car, also a performance car. In this case, you've got a 2-door. It's a convertible. You've got a 390 up front. I mean, what a weapon.
It's a wonderful riding car, Fletch. The 390 gives this car more power than you ever want. Okay, it's a unibody car. All right, so and this motor has been worked a little bit. It's a 30 over motor. All right, and has a Holly carb on it, so it will go down the road. Whenever you want to push that pedal down, it will go. So
you gotta love it.
Wonderful riding cars. It's you know, I don't think the Fairlanes really ever got their justice back in '67 as a true muscle car. They more of a, okay, let's throw the family in there and put the top down, you know.
It's this best of both worlds, alluding to what we said earlier. You have the luxury side of it with the Fairlane, you've got your performance package as well. Now, not too many of these cars left on the planet. What history can you tell us about this particular car, Bill?
This car is a little bit unique in a way that it is a GTA car, and most of the GTAs had the automatic on the floor. This car is unique because it has the automatic on the column. So I would assume back in '67 it was special ordered that way.
Yeah. Because you guys have always been big on column autos here in this country. Yes. I mean, I think primarily to be able to market the car as a 6-seater.
That's correct, all right? And this was a console delete car originally. And my own personal taste, I wanted to put the console in there. So, and as I talk to all the Fairlane members, they tell me, don't put the automatic on the floor, leave it on the column because it's one of the rarer ones, especially being a convertible.
Bill, it's the purists. It's the purists that are telling you this.
Yes, that's correct. Yeah. So, I mean, I just love the car. I love the Fairlane Club. These are a great bunch of people that we ride around with all over the country, I might say, and they're just very reliable cars, and as far as I'm concerned, they're beautiful.
Bill, looking inside the car, the vinyl, the interior, incredible condition.
Yes. I mean, obviously this was redone, but it was redone with the original type vinyl that they used back in 1967.
In terms of the history, do you know who owned it, where it came from?
Actually, Fletch, I am the 10th owner of this car. And I found it in South Jersey. It was near the seashore, one of the seashore towns in South Jersey. The gentleman who owned it previous was a Chevy guy. He only bought it because his wife wanted a convertible. But being a Chevy guy, he didn't have the heart to work on a Ford.
He didn't have any imagination, did he, Bill?
He didn't have the heart to work on a Ford.
Bill, great talking to you. Thanks for being on this week's episode of Classic Restos. Very special here in Carlisle, the 2016 All Ford Nationals. Thanks, Bill.
Well, thank you, Fletch, and good luck.
As we move down the rows here on the fairgrounds at Carlisle, so many Fords, so many shapes. Time for Joe. How you doing?
Fine, Fletch. How are you?
Good. Now, you've got a delightful 1973 Grand Torino Sport. Now, what can you tell us about this car, Joe?
Just that it's a fun car to drive, labors of love.
Well, I believe you've restored it, front to back.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, you want to walk us through what you've done there?
Just found the car, took it down to steel, replaced everything and anything from front to back.
All the bearings, all the bushes.
Every bushing, every bearing.
Up front, the Cleveland. Now, I got a lot of time for the Clevo. I think they're a great old engine, and I mean down in Australia, New Zealand, the Clevelands really ruled supremacy down there for quite a while. Now, what have you done with this one here?
Had to rebuild the motor, so it's Eagle rotating assembly, stroke 393. It's got a 3V top on it, which they told me was the Australian top ends that they were using down there. Roller cam, roller top. Just basically put some more get up and go into it.
Did you say a 3V? You don't mean 2V, do you?
No, 3V. They made the top end in between the 4V and the 2V, so that it had more response on the low end and the top end.
There you go. I didn't know that. I just learned something from Joe. I mean, I was just familiar with 2V and 4V. That's
4Vs never really worked until they got way up in RPM.
Yeah.
So with the 3V and the airflow, they made them work all around.
Bit of a compromise.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, now the interior of the car, what have you done there? I mean...
new upholstery, the new vinyl, new carpet, and that's all it needed.
And how long have you been a car guy? From a little kid, when did it hit you?
Probably out of high school back in the early 70s.
Yeah. What car did you drive? What was your first car?
70 Fairlane, Ford Fairlane.
That's not bad for a first car. 1970 Fairlane.
Yeah.
I know you're sitting at home and you're thinking the same thing. Joe, thanks for your time. Love the car. The interior is just stunning. I mean, you've really, really done a fantastic job. The big hip lines on the car, I mean, it's just got that fat look, hasn't it?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, they have nice lines, I think.
Good on you, Joe.
Okay. Thank you, Fletch.
You're welcome.
Take care.
You are watching the amazing 2016 Carlisle All Ford Nationals, and you're seeing it first on Classic Restos, the only Australian TV show to bring it to you. Back with more right after this.
We've always had a few cars. They're all special. The T-Bird.
Oh, that's mine.
The Combi for when we want to get away. The XR8.
It's going to be a classic.
They're all insured with Shannons,
We've also got Shannons Home and Contents cover.
which helps protect our automotive collectibles, tools and memorabilia in the home and garage. If you're motoring enthusiasts like us, it's got to be.
Shannons.
Shannons, insurance for motoring enthusiasts. Call 13 46 46 for a quote.
Penrite, Australian-made, family-owned and operated. Make premium quality engine and racing oils, warranty-approved coolants, automatic transmission and manual gear oils, a complete range of engine and fuel additives, heavy-duty and industrial products for every application. Visit penriteoil.com for more information. Penrite, Australian-made for Australian conditions since 1926.
If you have a restoration project, Hare and Forbes has the tools that you need. Look at these restoration products: shrinker stretchers, dollies, mallets, bead rollers, profile gauges, professional panel restoration kits, and so much more. Now I warn you, enter at your own risk because you will end up buying something. So come along to your Cap City store or browse and buy online at machineryhouse.com.au because Hare and Forbes has the range. 1960 and 1961 were the only 2 years that the Starliner ran. We have an incredible example right here with Jim. How you doing this afternoon, Jim?
Good, Fletch.
That's the way. Thanks for bringing this car along.
Yes, we were here last year with it. We had a good time last year, so we'd come again this year.
Jim, the car is just a knockout car. No matter what angle you stand and observe this car, it looks incredible from any direction. But what you've done here, not just the outside looking fantastic, you've got a few little secrets up front and in back as well.
We started out, the car was a 61 Starliner. It was a 390, 375 horse, 3-speed overdrive car originally. It was a 25,000 mile car. I got the car and I love the old cars, how they look, but I don't like how they ride. So I started out with the front end. We put complete strut coilovers on the front out of a 2010 Boss 302R race Mustang. We put the 6-speed transmission out of the same car. We put the independent rear suspension out of a 2003 Cobra, and drive shaft and all that, rack and pinion steering, everything. So I wanted to keep it kind of looking original under the hood, so rather than putting a new motor in it, I put a 482 cubic inch all aluminum FE, and I had a guy from upstate New York build me a fuel-injected tri-power with an original 406 manifold. So the car looks like a 61 Starliner. It rides and drives like a brand new car.
Geez, I haven't done much today. I mean, it's amazing the list of stuff you've done here. Now, the tri-power is interesting. Now, how does that perform? You had a single 4-barrel on the engine.
When we dynoed it, right. We had a single 4-barrel when we dynoed. Okay. And because the guy didn't have the throttle bodies done for the tri-power, so I didn't have it done. So we put it on after the fact. It run good with a 4-barrel, but it runs really good with a tri-power.
Wow. Okay, Jim, out back, tell us what's going on there.
I got independent 03 Cobra. Independent rear suspension on it with coilover shocks all the way around. It's got a fuel cell, 20-gallon fuel cell in it. I say the car, it's got disc brakes all the way around, got rack and pinion steering. It's got, if I took you for a ride with your eyes closed, you'd think you was in a new car. That's the difference.
Isn't that cool? You've got all the sophistication and the high tech of the new stuff, but look at the class on the outside. And I mean, this is where cars have evolved. I mean, they've just simply, aesthetically, they've lost their class, haven't they?
Yeah. I mean, today, you look at 10 cars, they all look the same. You don't know what they are, And back then, you had chrome and the bumpers aren't plastic, and, it's a real car.
I mean, they're a good-looking car, aren't they? I mean, they're sophisticated, they're smart. The shiny stuff, the bright stuff around the front, on top of the front fenders, the emblem in the centre of the hood, even around to the rear of the car. Looking at it from the back, I mean, they've just got so much road presence. And I have to admit, your exhaust system is amazing as well.
Yeah. Well, the exhaust system actually is from the headers back is from an 03 Cobra. With I just put different mufflers on it, so it's a little louder.
It sounds good. Have a listen to this. Jim, that's really something. Thank you so much for sharing your beautiful car with us on Chrysler Restos.
Glad to do it. Glad to do it.
Yeah, and thanks for turning up here to the 2016 All Ford Nationals here at Carlisle. It's guys like you and cars like this, Jim, really make it. Thank you.
Yes, sir. You're welcome.
In 1966, Ford offered vehicles that were years ahead in engineering and styling, and for almost any budget. Solid, smooth, quiet, fun and strong were some buzzwords used in Ford's total performance global advertising of the 1960s. Ford aimed high to succeed in a variety of motorsports by emphasizing performance in their mainstream vehicles. This amazing display here in Building T is a sampling of these 50-year-old vehicles showcasing this unique year of Ford history and performance. And of course, the 50th anniversary of the Ford Bronco. How cool is this Mercury here beside me? You can see this and a whole lot more on a Fletch tour. Have a look at this.
There is nothing quite like a Fletch tour. Carlisle All Ford Nationals, GM Nationals and Chrysler Nationals await you.
Coming on the Fletch tour was really great.
The people that run the tour are fantastic.
Experience Route 66 from Chicago to Vegas, or choose the Detroit tour, attending the Woodward Dream Cruise.
If you're going to travel anywhere, you've got to do a Fletch tour.
On a Fletch tour, you're looked after every step of the way.
See FletchTours.com or contact All Things Travel, Lara.
In 1926, Australia's Penrite Oil Company was established. Almost 90 years of research, development and refining under the harsh Australian conditions has made Penrite Oil what it is today. Precision, performance, reliability and protection. Championship winning products. Trust Penrite.
I spend a lot of time out here. The RT Charger's the real deal. An E49. Remember A-Charger? I've always got projects on the go, so Shannon's laid-up cover helps protect my restorations. I'm Mopar through and through. It's a passion Shannon's understands. I wouldn't insure my cars and bikes with anyone else.
Shannons, insurance for motoring enthusiasts. Call 13 46 46 for a quote.
Heron Forbes Machinery House has been family owned and operated for over 85 years, and it's easy to see why. And with a range like this, you cannot go wrong. Planning on welding? Look at these welding tables and clamps, air compressors and different air tools, sandblasting cabinets, through to spray guns. Everyone is welcome at Machinery House, and they're also open Saturday mornings. Their range of machine tools are workshop tested. There are competitive freight rates around Australia, and you can buy online at machineryhouse.com.au. So remember, Hare and Forbes has the range. With me now, honoured to have Willie Strop, personal friend of Parnelli Jones. Hello, Willie.
Fletch, how you doing this morning?
I'm good. Are you enjoying yourself?
Very much so. They've treated me real well out here. They've taken me on some special events to an Amish cruise dinner. And memories are there, they'll last forever.
The people here at Carlisle events are just wonderful people all day long. Now, this is your first time to the East Coast with this particular Bronco, right?
Well, this is the first time to the East Coast, this part of Pennsylvania, and Big Ollie has never been up here before.
Now, before we start talking about Big Ollie, and boy, there's some legacy and some history here, just quickly, the history of the Bronco. Now, what can you tell us about this remarkable vehicle?
Well, the Bronco was born back in August 1965. It just took off at the time. We were in stock car racing. My dad had the opportunity to help market the vehicle. We took it everywhere from the sand dunes of Southern California to the riverbeds of Riverside, California. And it turned out just to be kind of a recreational type thing. And then we started tricking the cars out a little bit with accessories. And then we ended up in Baja. And then from there, it was just history.
What a fun vehicle.
Very fun vehicle. I remember going to a majority of all the events in the sand, and the people you meet, through the years are just, it's just hard to explain.
Willie, throwing Cleveland and Windsor V8s into things, they must fly.
They flew. They really did. You'd be very impressed.
Okay, now talking about being impressed. Now, remember the Gone in 60 Seconds movie? Well, you might remember Parnelli Jones played a role there, and the Bronco in the film was stolen. Here it is here. I never thought I'd get to see this vehicle. Now, Parnelli's still with us. He'd have to be in his 80s now, Willie. Would that be correct?
That'd be correct.
Well, being a personal friend with the guy, was he pretty impressed to think that Big Ollie came here to Carlisle this year?
Absolutely. I think that was one of Parnelli's #1 priorities. He couldn't be here himself, but he had a commitment in Indianapolis, which that was #1 on the list, which I could understand.
Okay, tell us about this car. What powers it, Willie?
It's a 351 Windsor, and Dick Russell built the car, combination at Bill Stropp and Associates up in Long Beach, California, Signal Hill, and then Dick Russell finished it off at Parnelli Jones Enterprises in Torrance. It was a car that there aren't any blueprints to it. When Dick got involved in a job, it was just kind of, well, this looks good, let's try it. And a bunch of the cars back then were all built that way.
Willie, what accolades does Big Ollie have? Where has it raced? Where has it been?
Well, this car, actually, it just set the bar a little higher. In Mexico, it was the first car to ever, four-wheel vehicle to win overall, where the motorcycles dedicated the race every year. And Fletch, there's one thing about the Bronco, it's always been changed and redesigned, the suspension. There's so many people that are involved in that today. Yeah. When I raced Baja in 1973, we had 4.5 inches of travel in the suspension. We had offshore boat seats that had shock absorbers. We were strapped so tight in the seats, when you hit a bump, a hole, or a washout, the seat would go to the floor, your belts would loosen up, obviously, and then it would throw you back in the belts. So after about 500 miles, you're just ready just to crawl out.
You're still upright now in 2016. He's back. I mean, you're holding together okay, Willie.
Yeah, the chiropractor had a little bit to do with that.
Look, it's been wonderful catching up with you. I never thought I'd get the opportunity to meet a personal friend of Parnelli Jones, and to think, too, that he's going to see this episode of Classic Restos, which I'm very impressed about. Thanks for coming along with Big Ollie. What do we say? No more words.
Fletch, it's been a pleasure.
Okay, mate.
All right, thank you.
Thanks, Willie. Cheers.
You bet.
What's the Carlisle All Ford Nationals without a Mustang? And boy, have I got a beautiful example right here. We have Nevin. Hello, Nevin.
Hi there. How are you doing, Fletch?
I'm very good. Now, this 1971 Mach 1, what a beautiful example. You've kept this stock all day long. It's beautiful.
Yes. I'm a stock person. I try to keep everything as original as I can. And it's been a great car so far.
I still think that it's wonderful that when these cars were brand new, they were marketed to younger people, college kids, whatever the case may be. We've got people now at their senior years in life that are getting these cars that maybe once upon a time they could not afford. Now, was that the case with you with this Mach 1?
Yes, the story behind this car here, and when I came out of the service in 1970, I had one spec'd out at the local Ford dealership, almost identical to this car. And before I put the order in, I told my salesman to hold off from putting the order in. I said, I want to check with my insurance company to see what the insurance would be. So I did, and the insurance was going to be like $700 a year. So I told him to hold off on the order. That spec out a Torino GT, same motor, 351 Cleveland, 4-speed, bucket seats, everything that I had ordered on the Mach 1. Went back to the insurance company, and that was $330 a year.
And even that, like back in 71, for a young guy, that was a considerable amount. It's a beautiful car, 351 Cleveland, Ram Air. You've still got the stock shifter, the Hurst shifter. You know, talk about this vehicle keeping you young.
It brings your youth back. I mean, there's no doubt about that. Everybody says, you know, you guys just, you want to go back to your youth, and yeah, you do. They were great days for us back then. I mean, all our friends, you know, had the muscle cars, and it was great times, and it really does bring back a lot of memories.
You turn up with your wife Linda as well. You're both getting out and enjoying the fraternity and the hobby.
Yes, oh great. We met so many people through the years with this car that we would have never seen or you know, got to know years ago. And it's been great for us. It really has.
Well, you have seen just some of the incredible 2016 Carlisle All Ford Nationals on part 1 of Classic Restos. Carlisle fuels an atmosphere. A Carlisle event is the cars, the people and the excitement. An annual pilgrimage for thousands to return, sharing the hobby. There is nothing quite like it. Check it out at carlisleevents.com and see it on a Fletch tour. And part 2 will be seen next week on Classic Restos. In the meantime, no matter where you're watching Classic Restos from, until next week, please ride and drive safe. I'm Fletch, and I thank you very much for watching. You can like and follow us on Facebook at facebook.com/Classic Restos TV and watch catch-up episodes at shannons.com.au. Classic Restos is proudly brought to you by Shannons Insurance, Penrite Oil, Hare and Forbes Machinery House and Pace Farm Eggs.